There's a Chinese proverb that says, "He who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes. He who does not ask a question remains a fool forever." We are talking five more questions that you've got to ask before you get committed. Let's talk about it. Good evening. Tonight we are sharing five more questions women should ask while dating, and men too. These are interchangeable for the most part, but we just felt like this conversation was too important for us to just land last week. Of course, there will be many, many more, but we're not going to do a whole series on it. But we did want to come back with a part two. These are the kinds of questions that reveal character, emotional health, relational readiness, and long term compatibility before deep attachment forms. Welcome to Live, Love, and Marry Wiser. I'm your host, Lorraine Edwards. We have seen so many relationships go over the edge that we have committed our voices to building better fences at the cliff, so we need fewer ambulances in the valley. And with me today to bring some fence building wisdom is my co-host, Onita Hall. Hey, Onita, how are you?
Hey, Lorraine, I'm doing much better. It's good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm glad that you are feeling better. I was not looking forward to doing a solo episode, but I was preparing for it. So we are going to get into the conversation. As always, if you want to catch up on my dating life, stay for the lowdown on the updates at the end. And we have a special invitation that we're going to share with you later. But right now, we want to get into our questions. And I'm going to let Onita go first with her question. What's your first question that you believe we need to ask, whether we're a woman or a man, before we get committed to these things, this relationship?
um, First of all, that's a good, and I wish I went and watched our episode because I'm trying to make sure I don't. Well, I don't think I'm going to repeat, and I don't know if something we said was post op like afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Did we talked about? Did we speak about non-negotiables?
No, we did not.
So I mean, that would be my another question. What are your non-negotiables?
Oh, okay. That's good.
What
That's
are your
good.
non-negotiables? What are the things you are drawing a line in the sand about that you're
Mm-hmm.
like, nah, I'm not compromising on this. This is who I am. This is who I will be.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you right now, this will save you years of confusion and delusion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Why is that important?
It is so important because one, it helps you create and set up boundaries up front. It helps you clearly be able to communicate to the person, this is who I am. So yeah, you may have seen the physique, you know about the job, the roles, what they do in ministries. But those are things that they do. But my non-negotiables are part of who I am. These are my standards. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
praying sisters, my normals. And
Yeah.
these are things that I just won't change based on who I'm dating or intend to be married to or wherever I go. Just because I'm on vacation, if I'm a person that says I'm going to do my 45 minutes of walk in a day, whether I'm at home or on vacation, I'm going to do it. That's my non negotiables. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm an honest and trustworthy person, whether you're around me or not, I'm tempted by somebody, I'm still going to be honest and trustworthy. And
Yeah.
so examples of non negotiables, would be honest. For instance, honesty. Honesty being one of those things. That's a non negotiable for me. I'm honest. And of course, if I'm communicating that, that means you're also hoping the person you're dating is honest. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a big one in dating uh, could be, should be abstinence. And it's funny that Renee sent us that clip today about those people, those men who were showing up that they were abstinent at their church and how this other guy found that hard to believe. But no, people who have chosen to live a godly life, not just go to church, but they're
Mm-hmm.
saying, I am wanting to be holy because as Christ is holy. And while I'm waiting on purpose, I'm saying I'm abstinent. Does not mean they may not have had sex before, but in
Right.
this season of their life, they're choosing to be abstinent, and that's a non-negotiable. They don't care how
Mm-hmm.
cute you are, how great you can twerk it. The guy saying no, and vice versa. Sis is like, hey, you got that great six pack, or you looking good. You bought me nice flowers. But my non-negotiable, I'm being abstinent until marriage. Um, and faith, your faith is being a
Mm-hmm.
non-negotiable. And this is one that we can do a whole episode about unequally yoked. And y'all may have talked about it in the first couple of seasons. But your faith practice has to be a non-negotiable
Mm-hmm.
because that is at your core who you are. And if you want a healthy marriage, it needs to be at the foundation also of your marriage. That we,
Mm-hmm.
that our faith practices align, because we can't be a three-stranded cord. If I'm over here practicing, I'm
Right.
praising God, and you over here talking to Buddha, we can't we gonna be a two-strand cord, yet alone
Right.
three.
Exactly.
So the
Exactly.
faith practice having to be a non-negotiable. And lastly, another example I would just say lifestyle standards. Just for Lorraine, you have a lifestyle standard of you're gonna get up, you're gonna spend time with the Lord, you're going to the gym. This is part of your lifestyle standard. And so, hey, yeah, I'm dating you. Here's my lifestyle standard. You want to meet me? You want to meet up after I go to the gym, or you want to meet me at the gym? Great.
Mm-hmm.
But he needs to know that's your standard. This is what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing, and no, you're not changing it because, oh, go ahead and take 3 days off. We know once you start taking them days off, oh, goodness, some days becomes weeks.
Yeah.
Count the weeks as months. I mean, it just keeps going.
Yeah. It does. It does.
But you're saying this is my non-negotiables. This is my
Yeah.
lifestyle standard, and so this
Mm-hmm.
is why this question is important. What are your non-negotiables? And I think it also will help get them to think it, because sometimes you don't really sometimes think about that on the daily until somebody asks you and you're prompted, and it
Mm-hmm.
will help them get back into alignment too. Of if I am saying that about myself, am I actually living that way?
Right.
And am I projecting that way when people are seeing me out in the world? Is that
Mm-hmm.
who I'm putting out there as well? Because
Mm-hmm.
also I'm going to attract what I'm saying I'm putting out there.
Yeah. I think that's great. I had a similar. I said, "What are his deal breakers?" Because some people say, "Oh, you shouldn't tell because then the person tries to be that or whatever."
Yeah.
And I just think that that's stupid. Like, I mean, there's only so long you can fake being whatever, especially someone's deal breaker, because those
Yeah.
are major things.
Yeah.
Typically, they should be major things. So, I mean, you can't fake being a Christian for that long. It's gonna seep out. You can't. So, but then my thing is that if that's not a thing for me, why would I want to? I mean, I know the guy might be great and all that, but if I'm going to
Mhm.
be honest and healthy in my relationship, that's the point of these questions. If
Yeah.
you can ask questions and then you just going to do whatever, then don't ask the questions. Don't even waste time asking the
Right.
questions.
Right.
But if
Right.
your point is to find out if you are in alignment, if the point is to have a healthy relationship that's built on a strong foundation and you're asking these questions to determine that, then if someone says it's a deal breaker for me to have children, now of course none of us really control that, but there
Yeah.
are people who definitely aren't going to have children for whatever the reason is. If that's someone's must have, or like if the person doesn't want to have children, then that's a deal breaker for them. Then I don't need to go on a second date because I'm not having any children, not
Right.
physically, but also I don't want to have any children
Yeah.
um, at my age. And so those are just things that give you clarity on, are we in alignment or are we not? And that
Right.
is the point of this. So, if people are, trying to pretend, God knows I ain't never going to pretend that I want to have a baby at 56. So, like if you say that, I don't even want to adopt a child. So it's not even that. If I wanted to have children, I would rather actually give birth and experience that. Obviously,
Mhm.
we can't do that anymore. But I just think that an honest person is going to say, okay, that's not really what I'm thinking. That's not really where I am.
Mhm.
And this is feeling like this is a misalignment. I'm not a bad person. They're not a bad person. This is a misalignment. And I just want to spend maybe a second to say that I think that's the foundation of these questions, from the perspective that we're coming. This isn't you're bad or you're good or you're this or you're that. This is just saying, and I believe we said that last week, but I just want to reiterate for those who might not have watched that episode, which you can watch right here from last week. It was a great conversation, but it doesn't make either person bad. It just makes you different and not in alignment. And if you want to go the long haul with somebody for, decades being married, you want to be in alignment with these things. So yeah, that's a great one. So my question is, what is one thing you wish you had done differently in your last relationship? Or what is one one way you contributed to the breakup of your last relationship? So uh, if that person has been in a relationship before, you want to hear that they are self-aware, that they are self-reflective, that they can take responsibility and accountability if they have done things wrong. And even if they didn't do anything wrong, maybe something that they could have done differently. That's why I kind of did a either or, because you may not have done anything quote unquote wrong, but you may have looked back and said, oh, I would have done this differently. It doesn't even mean that the relationship would have not ended. It just means that if you're self-reflective, you can look at a situation and say, how could I have done that better? What could I have
Yeah.
done differently? What do I wish, if I could do that all over again, I would have done this or said that, or not said that, or not done this. And so you want to have someone who has the, not just the ability, because we all have the ability, someone who actually um, has the insight into their own behavior, thoughts, character, beliefs, actions, that allows them to assess that and say, oh, maybe I should have done this or I should have done that. Because God bless your soul if you have a husband or a wife who doesn't take accountability, who doesn't take responsibility. And forget that, who's not even at a very basic level self-aware and reflective.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to really believe that there are people like it has been. I believe it now because I see it all the time. But because I always was like that, I was always in my head. And then when I became a social worker, even more so, because they make you like reflect on every single thing while you're in the graduate program. Is like, oh my gosh, every paper is requiring you to be self-reflective. But they want you to be able to do that because, first of all, you have to make sure that your care for that client is ethical and above board. But also, it doesn't mean everybody does that. I'm just saying this is part of what they want you to be able to do it. But it's hard for you to get somebody else to be self-aware and reflective if you not. It's just like,
Right.
like what does that even look like if you're not doing it? So yeah, we spend many, many hundreds of papers writing, about ourselves and our reflections on different topics. But you want someone who can do that because that's how we grow. That's
Yeah.
how we can say, this is an area of weakness for me. This is something that I wish I'd done differently. This is what I said differently. I wish I had said it differently. And if I did contribute to the breakup, it doesn't mean I cheated. It doesn't mean that I cussed him out or whatever, or cussed. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that in most breakups, there's some contribution by both parties, not all. So
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that, because some people are loving you and serving you and doing all the things, and you just out here wilding out. Okay, well, that's not their fault. That's not there's a good person and a bad person
Right.
in that situation. But if it's if there's just a lack of communication, or whatever it is, the fact that they can honestly assess themselves and reflect that back is very important. So that's why I would ask that question. for that
That
combination of questions.
that is truly a great question, and I think it'll put some people may feel like they're in the hot seat, especially if they were the bad person, they were wilding out, or they've done this self reflection, as you said, and they can even say, "Well, my last serious one, I was just not mature yet." And
Mm-hmm.
to your point, marriage will magnify your emotional immaturity. If it's there,
Mm.
it's just going to be magnified in marriage. So identify it now.
Yeah.
Now.
Mhm.
I had a question similar to that, just dealing about your accountability style. And you addressed that early on with this question. Because
Mm.
you know, are you a person that apologizes? Do you accept correction? Do you take
Mhm.
responsibility? And are you able to communicate without defensiveness?
Mm.
That will show up
Yeah.
in the relationship, but also if they've done the work, they've done some work. Not saying they had to have been in therapy and done all the things, but if they've done some self reflection, which is good to say that they're not always just saying everybody else is the problem, they should be able to know that if they're able to communicate without being defensive.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so that is a great question.
All right. Good.
There's one that yeah, I didn't have this problem because my husband immediately set up this boundary. But I've seen it a lot in marriages. The Bible says in Genesis 2:24, a man shall, leave his father and mother,
Mm.
cleave to his wife. And so my question would be, how involved should extended family be in our marriage?
Mm.
And I would say our dating relationship, or your relationship in general. But if you're in a serious relationship going to marriage, how involved do you think there should be? And one of my first um, guest appearances on this show, I was talking about emotional investment. And
Mm.
it was so important to me because I know people personally that marriages were struggling because husband still couldn't let mom know mom was no longer number one in his life. He's married
Mm.
20 plus years, and he and mom, he still, as soon as mom calls, he has to stop, drop, and he could be at dinner with his wife. We're all out on a double date.
Roll out.
And mind you, mom has a husband at home, has a
Oh.
lot of grown children.
Oh. Wow. That's even another level.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, some cultures, culturally, is even deeper
And how did
where
that end
it's,
up? Because that sounds like
yeah, yeah, they ain't doing so good. Yeah, no, they're not
no.
doing so good. Um, but how do you know how much input should mama and dad and them, or auntie and sister and brother and them, have on your relationship, and
Mhm.
what you all decide to do? Are you able to have boundaries with your parents and
Mhm.
let them know this? If you're the guy, hey, this is the woman who's important to me in my life. Here's the one that I've chosen. And make ma, she may not look like who you thought she was supposed to look like, what she did. She don't cook like you cook, okay? Because certain generations, they want you to have to clean and cook and
Yeah.
do certain things the way they do. Even wearing pantyhose. I think our generation stopped wearing them. Where
Yeah.
every now and again,
That's-
my kids are like, "What?" Now Sydney, she's on another level. She's all into the pantyhose, the stylish ones.
Okay. Someone
But
just asked me that a couple weeks ago. I was like, yeah, I can't remember the last time I wore pantyhose.
okay,
I never
please,
bought pantyhose.
okay, who paying
Probably
for
like
the
a
things?
wedding or something like that.
Right, right. And so, the person may not look like what family thought they should look like. Are you able to establish boundaries with
Hmm.
your parents and saying, but this is my person? Or recognizing that, hey, maybe you went over every Saturday after church for dinner, or or Sunday there's family game night, but now you are dating this person, you're pursuing them, or this person is pursuing you and courting you. And so this is
Hmm.
both y'all free time is the weekend. Are you able to say to your girlfriends, hey, I know we get together every Sunday, spa, man, whatever we do, we out there, at brunch, bottomless mimosas, hopefully alcoholic free mimosas, whatever you're doing, just your life between you and God. But you are you able to tell your girls, hey, I'm in a serious committed relationship right now, and this is our time together because we both work all week, and so the weekends we're making time to be
Hmm.
there. When the call comes, because again, you're now considering, if you're dating, you are considering marriage, or you have already been committed to being married. When people start calling for financial help, because that's what they've been used to doing, are you able to say, I'm we're about to get married, or we're about to buy a house? And it will came up a lot in my tell you in my marriage because I was quick to being called all the time. My husband was him setting these boundaries up with family was it was non-negotiable for him.
Yeah.
This my wife, y'all go do what you're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
His priorities was always the house. Me being big sister, getting a call sometimes. Oh, I need help to pay my light bill. I need help to do this because it never was a frivolous thing. So I'd be like, oh, but they need their lights on. And then sometimes it wasn't going to the light bill. I would learn later. I wish we had social media back then on some of those calls.
Yeah.
But are you able to set up that boundary and say that? And
Um,
then, but also privacy too. Yes, you were used to sharing maybe everything with your sister, or maybe even of your mom about, who you're dating and everything. But
mhm.
there's certain areas, there's certain spaces you got to be able to protect
Yeah.
and cover this man who may be your future husband.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a single mom dating, I really stress this when it comes to you discussing your relationship
Mm.
with your kid and the expectations from what you're dating this person. There's a boundary. He's dating you, and then there's moments when you're and the kid is involved, but there needs to be a clear, definitive line of
Right.
it's me and him.
Right.
This is sacred. And then, when we want to, now the kid's coming out with us and everything, and then that's a different thing. But the kid should not be involved in all your decisions when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to you dating. There should be a clear boundary there because there's going to be a point when this person may become your husband where that kid needs to know is you and husband and then the kid. And that's
Mm-hmm.
a hard thing for people who have been so used to being a single parent for so long
It
to
is.
transition to. And then it's even hard when you're married and then you have the kid because mom, when we're so laser focused on the kid, it's like, oh, hey, husband, oh, okay. But still, it's a little bit easier that we know because we started off with it's just me and him, then the kid. Certain things are not going to get shared. At least for me, not going to get shared with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard when you've been single and you and the kid, if you've already been conversing about everything. You and the kid make plans together. This is what we're doing. Now you're having to say, hey, I'm dating Todd, and Todd is, Todd wants to take us on vacation. This is where we're going. This is what we're deciding to do. And
Mm-hmm.
being able to set those boundaries up and be clear about it up front because it will save you some headaches, some heartaches, and some arguments down the line. But it will also cause your family. So here's the thing. When I did start to say no, as Ebony would say, full stop is a sentence. No.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't do that. And I start using wording, even if I just said to sometimes when I got the financial call, you know what, let me discuss with my husband, I'll get back to you. You know what happened, Lorraine? They'd be like, oh, don't worry about it. Oh, okay. I'll let you know. One, they knew he's nobody to play with. But two, was it really an emergency? Was it as
Right.
important? But it also
Mm-hmm.
trained them to respect my marriage and
Mm-hmm.
respect the fact that, oh, she's consulting her husband. There was a couple little side remarks at first, like, oh, she got to ask him about the money. That's what you want to say, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
then as people
And
also
they're like,
started
yeah, I
getting, yeah, I
do.
do. And
And
as
that's
they started to get in healthy relationships, they recognized that it's a respect thing
mm-hmm.
because no matter what, I don't care if money is growing on trees in my backyard. Lord have mercy, make it rain. There still is that still was money. I'm still sitting out of our home
Right.
that impacted my home. And so I needed to set up that boundary and do that. But it makes other people respect your marriage too when you set those boundaries up. So you gotta have this conversation and see if he's able to say to, mama, nana, me, my papa, and them, she's my lady. And this is who I'm
Yeah.
sticking with and set boundaries up early.
No, that's good. My question was, what is the order of priority that you would place these three people, mother, wife, daughter? And
Mm.
similar to that, I think you sent me that video where the father was talking. But so basically the same concept
Mm-hmm.
of, but there's a particular thing with, mothers and sons and all of that. And so on this particular video, a daughter was asking her father this. She was an adult, and he said, um, my wife is first, my daughter is second, and then my mother. And the reason that he gave is, his wife is the covenant. He chose her. That's the
Yes.
covenant. The daughter is his, what he brought into this, who he brought into this world. So he is responsible for her first.
Yes.
And then his mother, he's like, still love mom, of course, but she just can't be in the first position anymore when I have these other responsibilities. And so you want to ask, you know, both, really, both of these questions, because they go together,
Yeah.
to make sure. And then, of course, you want to observe, of course, because people can say anything,
Mm-hmm.
especially as it relates to this. But you need to see what they do
Mm-hmm.
to, like you said, are they, getting up from the double date to go, whatever. And um, and I guess I'll spend a minute to say there is a bigger problem when a husband can't, or a daughter can't, a wife can't separate from their parents
Mm-hmm.
in order to be in covenant and oneness with their spouse. And people are like, well, it's your parents and you got to take care of them. Yeah, right. But your marriage is your first ministry, your first
Yeah.
priority,
That's right.
after God. And even the Bible says this isn't made up. Like, the Bible says literally in chapter 2 that therefore shall a man leave his father and mother. And I always was thinking, um no, I wasn't always thinking this. I just thought this last week. I wonder why it says the man must leave his father and mother. It kind of an
Mm.
indicator that that is a bigger issue with men staying enmeshed or attached. It's like, no, you need to come away from your father and mother and cleave to your wife. And if you cleave to somebody, that means that they're the priority. Because
Yeah.
when you're cleaving to someone, they're a part of you.
Yeah.
And so you and this person are the priority. This new covenant is the priority, and therefore anything outside of that has to be tertiary, really, because God is first, and then that person, and then subsequent people. And so there's a bigger issue when a person can't say no, wait, I'll come by tomorrow. I'm busy, or even not answer the phone. I'd be
Yeah.
like, text it, respond, can't talk right now. Now, and there's another problem, because the mother will fake emergencies in order to get that person to come.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, no, exactly. You can text me what you need, and if I think it's an emergency, I can respond in kind. But if it's a health emergency, I would call the ambulance, because I'm not I'm not doctor.
Right. Who am I?
So I'll meet you at the hospital though. So once they tell me, so like there's an enmeshment, and enmeshment is not a healthy connection.
Yeah.
Connection is healthy, enmeshment is not. And so anyway, I don't want to go down too long, but that was a great question. And um, so my next question is, how much time, it's a two-parter really. How much time do you spend with the Lord every day? And what is your um how does God lead you in your daily life? Like, what does that look like?
Mm.
Daily life. Okay. So because you can't tell everything from time, but time is significant.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
say 5 or 10 minutes every day, then I'm not saying they're not a Christian, and I'm not saying anything about their relationship. I'm just saying that maybe their priorities are not where they should be. And that would be the same assessment I would have of myself.
Mm-hmm.
This is not just outwardly projecting. This is the
Yeah.
same that I would have of myself if all I could find for God is 5 or 10 minutes a day. So that's a rebuke, to me, and then it's a question to that person. But then when I mean, like, how does God direct your life? Because you want someone who is not just a cultural Christian, someone who's been in church, used to being in church, says the right things, does the right things, sings the right songs, goes, wears the right clothes, all of that. There's a lot of people who can do that.
Hmm.
But on Monday morning, when they're starting their day, is God directing, like, their paths? When they got decisions, and I have a question about that too, that's later, but when they have decisions to make, what is God? Are they on their knees, or are they just talking to their buddies, or are they just, whatever, watching YouTube? Like, what? How does that work? When
Yeah.
there's trouble in the relationship, are they going to godly friends? Are they going to their pastor? Are they going to their knees again first? Like, what is the rhythm of how God is um incorporated, if you will, into their life? Is that a daily rhythm? Is it a Saturday thing, or a Sunday thing, or just at church, or what does that look like?
Yeah. That is a great question. Great question. Um, I had something similar saying basically how serious is your relationship with God really? Like, is it
Mhm,
social media scriptures
mhm.
and not just church attendance? Because we can be at church but not really in the proximity of Jesus, but not really connected.
Yeah.
And to
Just
your
for the
point,
just a note, we did not discuss our questions at all. So it's kind of interesting that we are kind of asking the same questions in different ways,
in
but
different ways,
yeah.
because these are important. And to your
Yeah.
point, how are you when your values are under pressure? Like, where are you going to?
Mhm.
You going to the rock? You going to, you pulling out you going to porn? Like, what are you doing? Who do you turn to? Who do you turn to
Mhm.
when situations get hard? Unfortunately, we were watching. I don't know. Some movies we watched back in the day, they was considered PG. That now I'm like, they may not be PG, and I don't know what it was, but we were telling her watching, and she saw that how there seemed to be a recurring theme where they had a bad day at work, they went to the bar, and I was like,
Mm.
you see how the enemy played? That was being perpetuated.
Mm.
And this was
Wow.
supposed to be a like family type movie.
Right, right,
And so the
right.
thing is, where's your faith? Like, is it because
Mhm.
I can tell you, if it is just a quick 2 minute or 5 minute Bible app thing, when stuff really hits you,
Yeah.
where are you going?
You can't withstand that.
You
No.
can't withstand that. Like, how, or what is your conviction? And to your point, your spiritual leadership, like, where is your guidance from?
Right.
Because again, foundationally, the world wants to invert the pyramid and make it seem like it's all about hot passion. That's at the foundation. That's your chemistry. No, because
Mhm.
those things don't keep you. That's fleeting.
Mhm.
Gravity hits and settle in later on. You married 20, 30 plus years. She not what they say 36, 24, 36 anymore. That ain't gonna hold you, bruh.
Uh-huh.
When she
Uh-huh.
stressed out and life, things are happening or health issues start to rise and your convictions are not on the rock, Jesus Christ, you're gonna be rocked. It's
Yeah.
going to mess you up. And so it's important, with Amos 3:3, can two walk together unless they are agreed?
Right.
If your faith is at this area, we're not saying that we know this walk of sanctification is a lifetime, but to your point, if you got 2 minutes over here and I'm putting in 30 minutes an hour with Christ in the morning and at night, like you're just gonna be on two different
Yeah, you're gonna
wavelengths.
be on
And
two
so,
different planes, and it's
yeah,
not gonna be important enough for you to say, it's not gonna be natural enough for you to say, "Let's go to God,"
yeah,
especially if you're talking in the direction of, me asking a man or a woman asking a man, like, he's the leader of the household. But if he doesn't know Christ, how can he love you as Christ? How can he take
right.
you? How can he, like you said, take you to the rock? As far as when stuff is going down in our family, in going down between us, and going down in the world, going down in the church, are we getting together on our knees?
Yes.
um I told you all this before, but one of my relationships previous to this time, we broke up because I asked him about praying together, And he was, he always told me pretty much every day he was praying for me. But when I asked him to pray with me, that didn't go so well. So let me just put it like that. That didn't turn out as I had anticipated. And I asked it with the full. I didn't have any anxiety about asking it really, because I just assumed that would be a natural thing if you're talking
Yeah.
about like the future together, and this person is saying that they're already praying for you all the time and blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, let's pray together. And yeah, it was downhill after that. So
Yeah. And it's interesting you say that because Dr. Myron Edmonds put on this page one day a quick little survey, but he specifically said, why do couples, or I don't know if he necessarily said to the man, or why do people find it so hard to pray together? And I think he was specifically talking about couples because something that came out of one of his communities. And
mm-hmm.
you had a couple of people that were like, oh, it's easy. We do it every day. But several people was like, yeah, I don't know why it feels weird. It's like this vulnerable thing. It feels awkward. And I'm just like, for the men, you've seen her lady parts. These were husbands and wives responding. Why is it?
you know People, it don't it like your lady parts and your men parts are not sacred anymore. So it's like, it's kind of like, yeah, I can do that with anybody, but
Yeah.
pray, come on. What you talking about? Oh, you crazy.
Well,
Oh.
yeah, and I was just like, and I thought, wow, and it was like it was a hot topic, and but majority said, yeah, you know what, dang, you're right, or they realized, yeah, it is kind of weird, and it's like, no, you need to pray even more because again, this is
Mm-hmm.
how the enemy was able to plant seeds in Eve's head.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got to be praying together, and even at the heart when you're happy, there's a couple of our church, Tommy and Sandra Daniels, who've been on the show, who lead our chat and dine, and she says even when you are mad, you post, we gonna still pray, and you ain't leaving this house without us praying together. We pray in the morning because it is an intimate thing. She's like, we talk about intimacy. Prayer is intimate with your
Mm-hmm.
spouse. It's an intimacy moment, and
Mm-hmm.
let's pray. And so this month, she's challenged us not only when we pray, but to husbands, wives, lay your hands on your husband. She challenged us as the women. So the men probably be looking at us crazy, like, what in the world? But she challenged us women to do that, and I was like, it makes a difference
Yeah.
because sometimes too, depending on, I mean, sometimes the Holy Spirit will lead me to say something I didn't even know my husband needed to hear
Mm.
in the prayer, and just like,
Mm.
oh, okay, or he'll say something, and I'm like, oh, that's what he's thinking. I didn't know because it may not come out in regular
Right.
conversation,
Right.
um, and you need to know this person got me and I got them.
Yeah.
Prayer is a weapon.
It is. And it also does draw you closer together,
Hmm.
because it is a place of vulnerability in a sense. If you're going to be honest and legitimate about it,
Yeah.
we have our prayer, um, our intercessory prayer on Thursdays, for our community, and people are putting their request in the chat during the week, and then people, someone specifically praying for those things. um but but sometimes when something's in your head, it's kind of okay, because it's just in your head and you can just
Yeah.
share it with God and whatever. But when you actually write it down and somebody else is speaking it, so if you tell your husband, this is what, he's like, can I pray for you? And you say, I feel shame and I feel guilt because of this, or whatever. I feel, and now he's kind of just like, what? you know,
Right.
but it if he's the kind of person that we're praying for and asking these questions about, then he can understand. Even God can even tell him, I need you to do this because that's going to help her. Like, even the prayer helps, but now even he can see something different when he's interacting with you, that maybe your response isn't about him, it's about whatever's going on in you, but now he knows what that thing is that you never said. But if you
Yeah.
just be like, just pray that I'll be blessed and safe during the, while I drive and whatever, then, you really, I mean, that's cool and stuff. You should be, but, that's not. that's not really what we're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
can you really go to the foot of the cross together for each other
Yes.
and with each other?
Yes. Bombard the throne.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
What's your next
We
question?
know, so we heard about the love languages, words of
I don't know how many
affirmation.
questions we did so far because we kind of overlap, but go ahead.
I feel like three. We've done three. Maybe this is my third one. This may be the third. Um, three each. So that way really maybe six. This may be the third one. Um,
No,
we heard
that's
about the
good.
love languages. We know words of affirmation, physical touch,
Hmm.
gifts, acts of service. But I want to know, I think a question to ask is how do you need to be loved when life gets hard?
Mm. Mm. Why is that
Because,
important?
how do you need to be loved? Like stress responses. What's going to help you? Because, sometimes we want to, oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? No, they may not need that.
Yeah. They may
That
not
may
want
nag,
it.
that's going to stress them out more and may nag them more. Do they need time? Do they need space? Do they need prayer? Um,
Hmm.
how can I show up for you when life
Hmm.
gets hard and make you feel loved? What are your emotional needs in this moment?
Hmm.
Um, do you need me just to sit here and listen? Or do you just need me to sit here in silence while you internalize you working out it in your head, um,
Right.
but still show up for you? You
Hmm.
know, what helps you be comfortable in this moment when things are hard? What's comfort for you? Are you gonna, hey, maybe it's, hey, I need to cancel our date tonight. I need to spend more time in the gym. Like I need to exert myself and get this
Right.
really off me.
Yeah.
And you be okay with that because
Hmm.
this is what's been my norm of how to deal with it.
Because he told you, and you asked, and he told you, and don't
He
be trying to
told you.
change it later.
Right. Right. And sometimes we take offense. I mean, I'm a woman and I know many a woman because we want to try to help them solve it. And this is what that he needs to do. He needs to do
Hmm.
this. This is how he helps process and get it off. And you need to be okay with that. No
Yeah.
attitude, no guilt treatment, no, sarcasm about
Yeah.
it.
That's
And
important.
expectations. Supporting their expectations in this moment too. If they've clearly said, hey, when I am going to, when the person's able to communicate it, you know what, when life gets hard and I am going through it, once I share with you, just a text saying, hey, how are you doing? How you process it, how you handling it.
Hmm.
How can I help you? Like, what do you need?
Right. No,
And
that's good.
even if I say I don't need nothing at the time, just knowing that you've checked in and asked, what do you need? It shows me love in this moment,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it helps me to be able to handle it and process it. And I
No.
would say also in the evolution of things, because as you do come together with a spouse, maybe my way of handling that stress all the time, we joked about other day about eating Haagen-Dazs, it may not have been the best way.
We're gonna go with it's not the best way.
It's not the best way.
It's a fun way, but it's not the best way.
That's not the best way, okay? It's fun up front, but it's bittersweet. It's good,
Yeah,
and then it's bitter
definitely.
later.
Yeah, definitely better later.
Yeah, but in the loving, maybe we're able to help each other process and handle the stress a little bit better. Prayer, of course, you can do it, but maybe helping the person get out and do something active, or
Mhm.
creating a safe space and a quiet and comfortable environment, whatever that case is. But asking, how do you need to be loved when life gets hard? I think it's good because we a lot of times, like I said, we just think of the love languages. This is how I need to be loved on a daily, but
Mhm.
if I'm hurting emotionally and you over there washing the dishes, because I always talk about acts of service, but you didn't come give me a hug, you didn't say how you doing, you see me crying, you're not
Right. Ooh.
consoling me,
Yeah.
you didn't come put your arm around me because you're awkward, you don't know, because a lot of people can handle the people crying.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when life gets hard and you see me crying, did you come put your arm around me
Mhm.
and say it's gonna be all right, or hey, are you okay, or what can I do, or just let me get it out, or whatever. Don't you come over here and buy me flowers and you don't even know what's wrong. Okay, I'm just saying that's me. That's me in this moment. But
No,
yeah,
that's good.
I
That's
think
good.
that's a question to action. A good question
I
to ask.
agree. I agree with that. And I think that's a great question because life is hard and life will continue to be hard. In fact, life will get harder just because as we get to,
Okay.
as we get to the close, the closing of this world and God coming back, Jesus coming back to earth to get us, then life is just going to get harder. Um, and so I think that it not only makes that person think about something that they may not think about, because when you're by yourself, you may not think about how you process difficult things because you're just by yourself processing difficult things. No, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, this is just what I do. But you may not know that that has an impact on somebody else because there is no one else for it to have an impact on if you're not living
Mhm.
with somebody. And so making sure that you're asking those questions, that is so different than conflict because it has nothing to do with you. This is just whatever is going on with them. And that's a point that we want to make. Like, everything doesn't have to do with you just because you're married to the person. So if
Yes.
you're feeling away, it doesn't mean it has anything to do with you. And so we have to kind of get out of that mindset. But if we understand how they deal with conflict versus how they deal with just difficult things, those might be those might be different, they might be the same. But if you didn't have any conflict with them, then let's just assume that it's not about you. And then
Yeah.
until they say no, it's about you, then you can have a different conversation. But if you understand how they process difficult things or just life or whatever, then you can have the appropriate response and make the appropriate adjustments, because you're not trying to change them from the way that they process, unless they process like going to a bar or punching the wall and breaking their hand and kicking, like, unless it's like it's a harmful thing,
Yeah.
then you probably want to work that out before you marry them for sure. but
Okay.
um but if it's not something that's harmful, it's just different than how you do it, then let that person be. Honor honor their space, honor their way of doing things, and then allow them to come to you because they know you are a safe place that they could come to.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So my last question, and it's the last question as we wrap up here, um, is what is your decision making process?
Mm.
What is your decision making process? Now, most people don't have a process that's written down that say this is how I make a decision. Though I was just listening to Tony Robbins, which of course he is a billionaire, so they probably have. We should probably follow their example, follow the example of those who go before us. He does have a decision making process. I'm not going to recite it here because I don't remember all the parts, but I did write it down because I'm like, oh, I like that. But um, we have a process, whether we have a framework or we write it down, or we all make decisions of significance. Now, do I get out of bed? That's not really a decision. I got stuff to do. But, you know, if I go this way, or do I do that one? Do I sell the house? Do I rent the house? Do I take this job? Do I not take this job? Do I marry this person? Do I not? Do we have children? Another child? Like, oh, we had two children. Do we really want another child? Is this like, there are decisions that you'll be making for the rest of your life, and now you have to make them with another person. And
Yes.
so, what is the decision making process? Do you just go, but well, I kind of feel like we should do this. Let's go do this. No, I'm not necessarily feeling that. So, so let's talk a little bit more about
Yes.
how we make decisions in the family, because that is going to be a critical thing when life starts to start and life starts to life, and not bad things, because you know um, you're making a decision right now about, we're moving, do we sell, do we rent? Neither one of those are bad. They have their pros, they have their cons.
Mm-hmm.
But you just wake up in the morning and be like, no, I think we'll just do this, and there's no reasoning behind it, it makes no sense. It's just kind of like, then you that does not that doesn't work. it doesn't work as a single person either, but it really doesn't work when you're married to someone who is not necessarily that way. So, how do you make decisions? Like, do you have people that you go to help
Yes.
you make decisions? Do you pray before you make the decision? Do you ask your mom and dad, which is fine. I'm not mad. And, we talked about like being enmeshed, but if
Hmm.
you have a good relationship and you trust your parents, that's not a bad thing to do. But what is it? Because I need to know and you need to know about me. And the other part is of all of this is, do you do you have an answer to all of these questions as well? Can you, when they, because if it's a good conversation, the person is going to answer that question and say, well, what about you? Or you can start by saying, hey, I have these things that I like to ask people. And so my question is, what is your decision making process? Because when I make decisions, this is what I do. Tell me what you do. So you don't, it doesn't need to be, first of all, don't ask all these questions in one date.
Okay.
Okay.
Unless you want to scare them off.
This is way too much. But we've just kind of brushed the surface even of some of these questions. We could have talked about some of these questions, we could have talked about a whole session. But like, spread this out as you get to know the person. A couple of questions, you're having conversation and you're growing from there. Some of these build on each other, so it doesn't have to be like, oh, at 10 o'clock on my date, I'm good. You need to be home at 10, but at 9 o'clock on my date, I'm going to ask him. No, it's not like that. You're not a journalist. You're not taking a, you know you're not what is it, you're not taking an affidavit, like, you're just getting to know the person and you're building on it. So make sure that you are having fun with it. Some of these are heavy, yes, but some of them are cool and light, and you can kind of just see. And don't judge their answers. Don't have an argument about
Right. Like, why you say that?
exactly. Don't have an argument about their answer. Just note it because it's important, and it might
Hmm.
be for you. It might be a deal breaker. So you need to know what the answers are, and you may have many of your other questions.
Yes, that's so good. Because, like we said before, some of them may be just yellow flags,
Mm,
something that, hey, we're going to discuss, something for discussion later, get more clarity on it later, but don't ruin the date and
yeah,
get attitude.
that's a red flag.
Okay, right. That's a red flag on you because you're trying to control everything.
Right.
Simmer down. You can't control everything. This is data gathering. And so you want to know these things. And I mean, again, to your point, you're back to your question, though. What is your process of decision making? Because I got to know that I know you prayed about this thing, especially when it's a big decision. Like, you just didn't act all willy nilly in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
upset, and so I just did it. And you're like, we gotta live with this now.
Right.
Like, what in the world? And one of the things that I've learned a lot from Dave Ramsey, but one thing he said, and he was like, whenever we make decisions, financial decisions based on greed or fear, it's always a bad decision. And he was using um, biblical
Mhm.
base to back that up. And I can tell you,
Yeah.
some of the most horrendous financial decisions I made in my life. And some of it, I don't mean necessarily purchasing something. Some of it was, I was at this great MLM meeting and they were saying all the right things. And I was like, let me sign up for $600 because I just thought I'm going to be a millionaire too. And it didn't happen. But it was the greed that was calling me to it, right? Or the fear of missing out. And so
Yeah.
knowing that your person, especially looking at the man being the lead of the home, and yes, you're in your life leading now, and you both still lead, but eventually certain decisions, I'm looking to you, and I need to know you just didn't make this a
Mhm.
quick emotional decision. That there was some process of elimination. You prayed about it, and to your point, who is a mentor or somebody who could be a sounding board that you may, outside of praying, that you also went to and just said, "Hey, let me run this by you. This is what I'm thinking, man. Hey,
Mhm.
have you?" And somebody that maybe have walked that road before, that actually did it, and they can say, "Hey, this is what worked for me, but this didn't work for me," and take what you got. What's what you like? What you say, Lo? Chew the watermelon, but spit out the seeds.
Yeah.
Leave the rest on the sidewalk if you don't need it. But
Yeah.
it helps me feel safe
Yeah.
knowing that there was some process in there
Yeah.
that, and
Absolutely.
especially when you've come in from a single life and you've already been making all your own decisions, and
Mm-hmm.
now I need to start trusting that this person I'm aligning myself with is going to make decisions for us that are in the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's in both of our best. What am I trying to
Mm-hmm.
say?
Interest.
Interests. Thank you.
Mhm.
I need to know that he ain't just out here just shooting
Right.
dice
No.
and just wishing.
And I agree. And also that something that you said about like he's the leader and we believe that. Um,
Hmm.
but what we do also believe is that good leaders consider the people that they're leading
Yes.
and and put them first.
Yes.
Like you're not making decisions that are just good for you, but you're not thinking about nobody else. Now sometimes that has to happen because it's still the best decision,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
um but you just like, oh no, I'm gonna do this and whatever happens with the rest of y'all is whatever happens. No. No, that's not the best way. That not, I mean, we're not doing that. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and let me be clear, you're gonna see that while you're dating. You just need to give
Okay.
it a little time because he's gonna do that or she's gonna do that. And you just be like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Note to self,
Hmm.
this what my life like this is what my life is going to look like, um exponential 10, like, or 100, because when you're dating, all it takes is a phone call. You know what? I just don't think we're aligned in our values and the direction that we're going. It was great dating, talking to you, and spending time with you. I wish you all of the best. I
Yeah.
just gave y'all a good breakup call right there.
I
I,
mean, good words.
I wish you all of the best in the journey for your partner, and I will pray for you. When you married, you make all the phone calls you want, but you still gonna come home and he's still gonna be there. You gonna come home and she's still gonna be there. And so let's make all them phone calls prior to saying I do. Let's ask all of the questions prior to saying I do. And you can see if he prioritizes your good and the good of the family over the good of himself.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't have a framework that he uses like Tony Robbins to make decisions, he has a mindset of how to make decisions. And let me throw this in there, you can look back over his life and see the decisions that he's made.
Okay.
You learn that as you're, like, how he's dating people and how he's ending relationships, and what jobs is he taking and what career did he choose. Is it something we uh, is it something that he wanted to do, or did he decide because his parents wanted him to be a lawyer and now he feels stuck like Chuck, but this is what he's doing?
Hmm.
Is he going to do things to please other people? Is that his decision making process, that it makes other people happy? And I'm not talking about in a healthy way. I'm
Right.
talking about in a unhealthy way, because the other part is he could do that to the detriment of the family, in the sense of he could be saying yes to you, his wife, when he
Hmm.
really needs to be saying no to you.
Come on.
It's not
Come
just
on.
other people out there, because no one has more of an impact on the man than his wife, and the woman than her husband.
That's right.
And so he could be the kind of decision maker that is so self-sacrificing or so people pleasing that when you out here wilding out, he's not saying, babe, no, no, we're not going to do that. And I know that's what you feel, but we're not going to do that.
Come on now.
Full stop. No. Because if you don't have a husband that can say no to you, or a boyfriend that can say no to you, you are in a bad place.
Yeah.
You're in a bad place. And we think that a good husband says yes all the time. and gives us whatever he wants, whatever we want. No, you no. A good
Mm-hmm.
husband makes good decisions that may hurt your feelings sometimes because you want this thing, and he's like, no. Because
Yeah.
I know you said that there was, when he set boundaries around, no, we not going that, we need that money for our household. What we
Mm-hmm.
not gonna do.
Do
Now
a lot
when
of
we
it to do.
can, we will. And that might have felt uncomfortable or whatever, but once you realize, oh yeah, he's right
Yeah.
now. And that's the thing, you realized, you came to a place where you just like, okay, nah, I really am happy that he put his foot down.
Yes.
That's the kind of wife that you want to be. And you need the kind of husband who will put his foot down when he needs to. But then you also need the kind of husband who's like gracious and generous and loving and open when he can be,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so, yeah, how do you make decisions? Any final words?
One, I just think this was great. I wish I had a lot of these questions when I was dating my boo back in the day. I mean, we talked about a lot, but some questions would have been deeper, and I just ended up learning a lot of this more in the marriage
Mhm.
later. But I think this is great, and we're like you said, I'm glad we're building fences, and that hopefully people are tuning in. And again, I'll be sending this episode to my oldest. I'm always telling her, send it to your friends. Tell them to watch it. Don't wait. Don't wait till they already had the altar.
Yeah, don't wait, because then you be like, oh, I wish I. There are so many I wish I's in the world. You don't want to be a I wish I.
Yes, not at all. Not at all. So we're just waiting for our lowdown on the updates or the update on the lowdown. What is
Low down on the updates. Oh
it?
yeah. Well, here we go. So the I don't have a lot to say today, but what I will say is that I'm still talking to this gentleman, and um, it's still going well. We really aren't pressed. I'm certainly not pressed. He doesn't appear to be pressed. And I'm still open to talking to other people. I just haven't met other people to talk to. And I
Hmm.
haven't been as active on, some of the groups just because I've been busy. But I am looking forward to asking some of these questions when we're able to talk more. We still been chatting, and you don't want to ask this kind of question on a chat and then wait a whole day before they answer, and then they got to wait a day. It's not a whole. Sometimes it is a day, but wait a whole day before you respond, and no, that's not that don't work for this kind of stuff. So you want to know what they're, where they are, and be able to have an actual conversation about it. But I think that the thing that I would say that I appreciate and I'm learning more is just his ability, which actually addresses something that we've already talked about, his ability to apologize and um, just acknowledge, because we were supposed to talk, and there's a couple of times, but something happened that prevented him from being available, or whatever. And so when he came back around, in fact, he just messaged me this morning because we were going to try to talk on Sunday,
Hmm.
and or maybe it was yesterday, I don't know, but yeah, it was Sunday. And so he messaged me yesterday, but then we messaged some more today. And, he apologized because, this a situation came, not a bad situation, just something came
Yeah.
up. He wasn't able to. And when somebody can even kind of acknowledge those small things, then it kind of sets the pattern for, the future.
Yeah.
If somebody just kind of brushes over, oh, I said I was going to call, and then they don't, and then they don't say anything about it, you probably in a dangerous kind of situation. It feels small, it feels insignificant,
Hmm.
but when people say they're going to do something and then they don't, that's kind of an issue. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean they're a bad person, but it's just something that you want to be kind of aware of and acknowledging. So yeah, that is my update for this week. And the reality is, this is the longest I've talked to anybody since for 6 years. So on any level. So it's been kind of cool.
Awesome. Awesome.
That is the all right. Healthy relationships are not built on attraction. And before I say that, let me say this. This Sunday, we are inviting you to an Empower Call. Those are our coaching calls for a Praying Sistas community that are typically just for members. But this Sunday on May 26th, we are having an open call for any woman who's interested, thinks about, who just needs something or needs someone to talk to, who's looking for a community or sisterhood. You might not even be looking for a community. You might think, oh, I got plenty of friends. This is not like that. Because I have many friends too, and many of them are in the community. But to help you grow spiritually, professionally, physically, financially, all the other E's, and to do that in sisterhood for women who are have this huge gap between what they expected their life to look like and what their life really looks like, and now they're just exhausted. Not just the kind of exhaustion that you could sleep off, but the kind that actually is your soul is tired, and you just feel stuck and you don't know where to go. We are inviting you to come and join us on this call. 100% free and open to our public for women. We are a faith community. You don't have to be of faith to join us, but we are a faith community. So don't expect us to make any adjustments as it relates to how we go about, but we still welcome you in if you would like to join us. I am going to drop the link to the Zoom in the chat and in the description so that you are welcome to join us and you can share it with your friends as well. We look forward to that time with you from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock on this Sunday, May 26th. All of those details will be in the post. So, healthy relationships, if you want one, it's not built on attraction. Attraction is important. You don't want to be not attracted to the man that's dating your husband, but it's not built on attraction. Healthy relationships are built on honesty, emotional maturity, communication, shared values, and the willingness to have difficult conversations early. Because a lot of times, if you have those difficult conversations early, you have to have less of them later. Either you realize you're not aligned, or you've worked out those things that could be barriers. We hope the last two episodes have challenged you to date more intentionally, ask better questions, and move with greater clarity and wisdom. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share so others can get this wisdom too. Friends, you do not need another ambulance. You need to apply wisdom so that you will keep from falling in the first place. So, until next time, make choices that will help you live, love, and marry wiser. God bless.